What if the identity you've built your entire business around is the very thing holding it back? Gotta get the sillies out. I used to be a poster child for the boss babe culture. I thought that being a boss babe meant that I was ambitious, independent, rich. I was flying around the world. I had money in the bank. I had freedom. I was sipping margaritas on the beach. That was the ultimate form of success. It meant that I was powerful, that I was rich, that I was free. So catch me off guard and completely surprised when I was living in the reality of many of those things, and I felt empty. I felt nothing. Even more than that, I felt isolated, alone. And in a way, I actually felt chained. I felt trapped. And it was so disorienting to reach a level of success that I'd aspired for so long and feel so empty on the other side. And that led me on a journey of leaving the boss babe culture and seeking to serve in my business like never before. And that's why today in this conversation, I want to talk about why boss babe culture can actually be toxic, how it can actually destroy your business, and what we should aspire towards instead as women building businesses and wealth. So we've got to start with a definition so we are clear on exactly what we're discussing. In my research around boss babe culture, a lot of definitions came up, some of which were very harsh. So I tried to pick one that was fair. It is defined as a confident, ambitious, and independent woman who takes ownership of her career and personal life. She's typically characterized as a proactive, disciplined doer who makes her own rules, embraces financial independence, and unapologetically pursues her goals. At first glance, looks pretty good. You might have even heard that just now and been like, what's wrong with that? Like, I'm waiting to hear your case because that sounds amazing. But if we peel back the layers, if we go a little bit deeper, we immediately see that this persona is marked by being self-centric, self-focused, self-centered. Everything is about your ambition, your independence, your freedom. And I want to state here that those things are not bad on their own. They're good. But if they are the sole focus driving your business, your entrepreneurial path, your career, it has a really negative impact over time. It stunts growth. It delays the work that you're actually called to do and to prioritize. So let's unpack this a little bit more before you completely write off this idea. I want to make a case for how boss babe culture can destroy your business. So we're going to go through 3 things that this culture does by nature. So the first thing is that independence becomes isolation. So there is a drive and a motivation as a boss babe to be independent, whether that is financially or elsewhere. You want to be self-made. You want to be able to do all of the things on your own. And although there is certainly value to financial independence, when you allow pride to come in to the point where you're not just independent, but you are isolated, that is going to stunt your growth. That is going to hinder you from doing the work that you're actually called to do, because none of us are meant to build on our own island. And we start to take such pride in being self-made, in being able to say, I did this on my own. I didn't need anyone else to do this. I didn't need anyone to get here because I did it myself, because I'm independent. And I'm going to be honest with you. None of us are self-made. Every single one of us was created by God. We were carried in the womb by our mother. We were raised by someone. We all have a variety of backgrounds and upbringings. Many of us raised by our parents, some not, but we were raised by someone. We have mentors, we have peers, we have friends, we have community. None of us are self-made. It is actually so prideful to say that you're self-made, to think that you've gotten to where you are in life on your own. And why is it that our culture wears this like a badge of honor? Like it is the ultimate place of arrival to be self-made, to do it all by yourself. Why is it seen as so negative to have to rely on another, to have to be of service in a partnership, in a marriage, to actually sacrifice certain things in your family, for your kids? Why is it seen to be a negative thing to need other people? So that's something we need to dismantle in our ideology and our thought process, this aspiration to do it all by ourselves, because that's not reality. None of us made it to where we are on our own. And if none of us have made it where we are today on our own, then what makes us think that we can grow on our own? That we can scale on our own, that we can accomplish the calling and the assignment in front of us on our own. And I'll be the first to say that I thought that I could. I thought that I could be self-made. And there's a difference between running a lean business and what I'm talking about here, and completely isolating yourself. I'm not saying you need to be extravagant and go and build out an insanely expensive infrastructure and team. You can run a lean business and do big things, but it might not even be a team. It might be a mentor. It might be getting connected in your community. It might be leaning on your family for support, for encouragement, leaning on God to sustain you in the season that you're in. But your call is not to be self-made. Your call is not to just be independent to the point of isolation. There is no pride in that. There is actually even no truth in that. And ultimately, when we are too proud to bring people into our business, to lean on other people in our journey of growing our business and pouring into our career, we become the bottleneck. We become the reason that we are not growing because we think that we can do it all, do it best, and do it alone for all of eternity. And that's all we need is ourselves. And that is somehow some form of being powerful. But you will never be as powerful as you can be on your own. Aside from God, aside from your partner, your community, we all need people around us. We all reach our end. We all have a limit and we reach it at points when we're going it alone. And that isn't weakness. That's just a part of being human. The second thing that happens in the culture of being a boss babe, your business becomes your identity. It's the end all be all. It is who you are. You wake up, work. You go to the coffee shop, work. You go on vacation, work. You travel to Italy with your family, you work. You contact nap, you work. And when work is going well, when things are skyrocketing, you are on cloud 9. And when things are plummeting, you're on the couch crying your eyes out because you feel unworthy. You don't feel like you're enough. And yes, that is an actual example from my life. When your business becomes your identity, you'll never be enough because business is up and down. It's all over the place. I mean, good Lord. Look at social media, look at the culture, look at the marketplace. Like, it'd be zipping you around from side to side, up and down. You're on a roller coaster. And if your identity is attached to that, then you're never going to be firm in who you are. You're never going to be anchored. You're never going to be steady. You're never going to be able to have a steady faith when things are great and when things are tough. Your business is not your identity. And when it is, every setback feels like a personal failure. Feels like you are not enough. You're not good enough. You're more than your business. You're so much more than your business. It is a part of your life. And in order to be a fulfilled human being that leads well in their business, you need to be a whole person, not just a business owner. You need to have your life in order. You need to prioritize other things outside of your career, not just so you can be happy and fulfilled, although that is so important, but also so that you can lead your business well. You can honor your calling well. You can pour into the assignment in front of you and steward your season well at full capacity, meeting your full potential. We had a whole conversation about this in our video, why your business isn't fulfilling you. So if you haven't caught that one, you can head over there. But an unhealthy obsession with your business does not make you more productive. It makes you less. It doesn't make your business perform at a higher level. It causes it to slow down. When you always have to force and push and strive, your results are limited. And beyond that, what you create, you cannot sustain. And if you can't sustain it, you can't multiply it. There are people here that are ready for multiplication in their business. They are ready for a fruitful season of business. They are ready to scale. But you have to stabilize before you can scale. You have to sustain before you can multiply. So the first thing that you have to do to get there is detach your identity from your business. It is not who you are. It is a part of your purpose. It is not the whole thing. Now, the third and probably the most important way that this culture affects you, you become the sole focus. Your money, your success, your travels, your car, your home, your freedom, that's what it's about. It's all about what you get out of your business. But a business that has a foundation of selfishness can only grow so far. Your business cannot just exist for you and scale. You can be successful only with your selfish aspirations. You can be successful when your business exists to fund your lifestyle, but it will be capped. Things will eventually level out. Growth will stall because businesses exist to create an environment for exchange. An exchange requires multiple people. Businesses don't exist for the founder. A business's purpose isn't to keep you entertained. It's not to fund your lifestyle. It's to bring solutions to the people in front of you. It's to be of value. It's to be of service. So when your entire motivation is to build a business that gives you freedom and money and funds the life that you want, you're only tapping into part of the picture, part of your potential, part of the call. And of course, it is okay to desire that your needs be met. It's okay to desire that you are provided for. But how many of you know that you want more than just your needs met? You want more than just to be provided for. You want to actually contribute something to the world. You want to actually contribute something to the culture, to a people group, to your clientele. You don't just want to exist to have fun. And if you do, that's okay, but you'll only ever be partially fulfilled. You will never be fully fulfilled. You will never be operating at your full potential, and your business won't grow as big as it possibly could. The businesses that break into the top percentage in their industry do it by becoming fixated on their people. They're not thinking about themselves. They are fixated on the people in front of them. What are their problems? What are their desires? What are their goals? What's hard for them? What do they need help with? And they figure out how to be of value to those people. They figure out how to support in the transformation that those people seek. They become a part of the solution. And that shift changes everything in the way you feel day to day and absolutely in how your business performs. Because when you have a truly valuable, service-oriented offer that really brings a solution for people that they really need, you've become so fixated on bringing immense value that you've created something truly helpful for people that scales. When you've created something that's really motivated by your own desire to live your life and enjoy life and have nice things, you will only partially get there. You won't bring the maximum amount of value that you could. And it's hard to scale that at some point. You can grow that way, but it's really hard to scale that. And it's really hard to sustain it. Ultimately, you don't need to be a boss babe. you need to be a good steward. You not only need to steward your business well, your career well, you need to steward the season in front of you, the life in front of you, the marriage in front of you, pouring into your children, pouring into your home, pouring into your client experience. You need to serve well, not build a business that is just self-fulfilling. That is selfish. And it caps the value that you can bring. When you're a good steward, you are really good at bringing value. But when you're a boss babe, you're just good at building your own beautiful life. You're just really good at curating an image. So what does stewardship mean? If this is the aspiration, I think it's important we define it. Stewardship is a person who manages, administers, or protects something on behalf of another person. And forgive me, I think that it's supposed to be the definition of steward instead of stewardship. But ultimately, you are doing all of these things on behalf of another person or another group of people. If you compare and contrast the definitions of boss babe and steward, you will see that one is self-centric and the other is an act of service. It's not about you at all. It's about the people that you are meant to support, that you are meant to serve. Being a good steward, it's not just a strategic business move, although of course it's going to directly impact your profitability. It's going to directly impact the support level that you're bringing, the value that you're bringing, and therefore your scalability. But it is a posture that brings more fulfillment to your life than being a boss babe ever could. There is more fulfillment to be had in serving people and bringing real value than there is making as much money as possible so you can live a life that's fun. You can have both. I'm not saying that one has to be absent of the other, but we have to get our priorities straight. We have to get clear and remind ourselves why we started our business. And if it was for selfish reasons, how can we grow and evolve beyond that? I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I started my business because I had this mission for the world around me. I started my business to put food on the table. I started my business to provide for my family, to contribute. And eventually I reached a ceiling that I could not break through. The lifestyle marketing wore off. Its effectiveness dwindled. It wasn't there anymore. I was no longer fulfilled by it either. I felt empty. That is not something you can scale. So I had to evolve and grow beyond that and realize that business it's not about me. It's not for me. It's for the people around me. And unlike boss babe and the culture that comes with it, which is entirely self-centric, being a good steward applies to every single area of your life. It applies to your business. It applies to your home, your family, being a mother, relationships, the larger calling on your life. It applies to so much more than just the work in front of you. It goes beyond what you can get out of it. It's more about what you can give. When you become a good steward, you become less self-focused. You know, I reached a place in my business a couple of years ago where I was at a crossroads. I was sitting behind my computer and just kind of processing what was going on in my mind. And one of the things that came out was my business feels lifeless. When I stopped typing it, I kind of like sat back for a second and I was like, whoa. At that stage, I had reached what everyone else would call success. I had the husband, I had the house, I had the baby, I had a career, I had a business. I was a full-time entrepreneur. I made good money. I worked with clients literally all over the world and over a dozen countries. Somehow, it all fell flat. And in that moment, I heard God say to me, we are turning selfish and surface into a symphony of service. And that marked the start of a new era, a new journey in my business. I started to second guess everything and flip everything on its head, because I realized how much pride and how much selfishness was at the core of my business. And I knew that it was time to grow beyond that. And I knew that I was being called to raise the standard of service in our industry, because my calling isn't to be a boss babe that lives the life that she pleases, flying around on jet planes and sipping a margarita on the beach and doing whatever she wants when she wants. That's not my calling. My calling is to distribute value into the earth. And that value can absolutely take place through my business and my career, what we're doing here today, but it's also through being the best mom I can be. It's pouring into our home. It's pouring into my marriage. It's fostering the relationships around me. It's honoring my parents. It's following faithfully what the Lord has for me in this season. It's not about me. It's about being a good steward. It's about being of value. And the way that we are of value differs across the board. It varies. But if you take anything away from this, I hope it is this. You were never called to be a boss babe, living how you please. You were called to be a good steward that is faithful, that manages her resources well, that is wealthy and abundant and provided for, absolutely, but cares more than anything about being of service, being of value, and bringing that value and distributing it throughout the earth. Let that be your big takeaway from this. Thank you for your time. As always, I love to spend the time with you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.